and welcome to everybody to this session about set analysis with Web Intelligence and Information Design Tool. My name is Pierpaolo Vezzosi. I am a product manager in the SAP Analytics team, working from the Paris office. So let me share my screen, and there we are. So today we're going to talk about the functionality which has been added in BI 4.2 Service Pack 3. I'm going to explain what are sets, and then I'm going to do a set of live demos actually about the ability to consume sets in Web Intelligence and then creating them in Information Design Tool with the existing version 4.2 SP3. And I'm then also going to show you what's planned in 4.2 Service Pack 4 so that you can see where we are heading with the new functionality of sets. And finally, we'll have for Q&A, so feel free to add your questions into the chat line, and I'll answer them at the end of the session. We'll have 10-15 minutes for doing that. So I'm going to talk mainly about functionalities which already are into the product today. The last part will be about functionality which we're working on for 4.2 Service Pack 4, which is a service pack which is planned today for, let's say, May 2017, so it's not available yet. And for those functionality, I cannot legally commit that they will be into the final product. So I will tell you when we go to Service Pack 4, and when you see something, please that things I'm showing might not be in the version. So do not purchase the product because you're expecting those functionality by May 2017. What are sets? So actually, if you think you will live with lists, we have a lot of lists in our everyday life. So for example, we have the list of people we want to call, or of things we want to purchase at the supermarket. And lists, calling people, things to purchase, are quite simple. So you can write them down on paper and you can tick them off whenever you have called somebody or whenever you have purchased something from the list. So those are easy lists to manage. But there are some things which are much more complex to work with. For example, if I have a list of my target customers for a marketing campaign, well, that's much more complex because I need to understand or define what are the profiles of customers I want for my marketing campaign. For example, there might be customers who spend more than, let's say, $1,000 in my products, and they've been spending them for the past month, for example, or there are customers who live in a specific geography, or customers who live in a geography and spend more than $1,000 in the past month. That's an example. This could be the list of my top seller products. For example, those are the products which have sold more than $10,000, for example, in the past week. So those are complex lists to create because they contain information, written information which is contained typically in your data warehouse, and this information changes. So for example, the top seller product of this month might be different from the top seller product list of the past month. Or my customers might change, and so the customers I have today might be different from the customers I plan to have 1 month from now. Also, even if I'm able to create those lists, what do I do with them? So it's not just ticking them off whenever, for example, I send a mail for a marketing campaign to the customers, or, for example, when I want to create a new discount on a top seller product because I want to sell even more of this. So it's not just checking out with a pen saying, okay, I've done this. There is a big process around sets. For example, I want to create a marketing campaign for customers, so I want to have the list of customers, and then from this list, I want to extract the list of emails of those customers, and then I want to feed this list of emails into an application which sends the emails and tells me if the email has been sent or not, so that I can record if a customer received the mail or not. And so there is a whole life cycle of the information which is related to those lists. And the good thing is that in BI 4.2, we give the opportunity with the functionality of sets to define and to track the life of complex lists. And this is a functionality which is built into the application, so it's not another product you have to purchase. Whenever you install BI 4.2 Service Pack 3 and later, you will find the functionality already available for you into the platform. So in BI 4.2, what you can do, well, let's take the example of the first list of target customers for the marketing campaign. Well, today you have a lot of universes in the BI platform, and all the information about, for example, your customer is within a universe. In a universe, you have the information about the age, the family revenue, for example, the location of a customer, the number of products they purchased, and so on. And so with the information you have in a universe, you can easily define the profile of customers which might belong to your marketing campaign. So sets are built on top of existing universes. So you can reuse all the information you have in universes to build your list. You can then create one of these lists based on the customer profiles, and then you save it, and that's very important. So today, to create the list of customers for a marketing campaign, you build it and you save it, and you actually save it into the database. And saving it is very important because let's say that 1 month from now or 1 year from now, you want to check how well the marketing campaign went, you still have the list which you have created today for the marketing campaign. So the list is persisted into the database, it doesn't change, and so you can reuse it later for checking how things well or not well. And this list then is used as a filter so that you can analyze the profile of the customers. For example, suppose that you take customers with a given revenue and with a specific which live in a specific location, and then given the fact that this list is linked to a universe, you can have a better understanding of the kind of population you have selected for your marketing campaign, because then you can run any kind of query on top on that list. And then you can also use the list, for example, to avoid sending another marketing campaign mail to the same customers 1 month from now, to the next marketing campaign. You can actually subtract the list of existing customers from the list of the customers you're going to target next month in order to run your marketing campaign. So there are some of the things, complex things you can do easily thanks to BI 4.2. An example is the top seller products. As I told you, top seller products today might be different than top seller products 1 month from now or from a month before. And so with BI 4.2, you can actually save and persist those lists, those sets in time. So you can define what your top seller products are. For example, those are products which sold more than $10,000 in a week. That's my definition. And then I can persist the list in January, February, March, and April, and so on. And I can continuously save it in time. This is very important because then I can check how many products make it into the top seller list and how many products go outside of the top seller list. So you can see if I have more products selling more or less products selling more. I can also, for example, run a marketing campaign on a specific product and check if 1 month from now, 1 month from the marketing campaign, the product makes it into the top seller list, and so that I understand if the marketing campaign was successful or not. Also, you can check if a product just drops out of the top seller list 1 month from the other. I can try to understand why that product did get out of the top seller list. I can, given the fact that I know the difference between February and the March top seller products, I can check the ones which left the list between February and March, and then run queries on them and see, for example, if they stopped selling in specific locations or for specific reasons. And globally, I can monitor how the list changes, so how many products are in the list or how many products get out on the list over time, and so that I can actually better understand how my business is going. How does it work? The set is defined and instantiated, so it's persisted into the database from the information design tool. I'm going to show it later. So we define from the universe the set, and then we save it into the database. And the set can be either a static set in a given time when I save it, or I can tell the system to calculate the set over time. And then once the set is created, I can use it in Web Intelligence query to filter my information. And so here, I'm actually stopping with the slides, and let's go with the live demo as promised. So first of all, I want to show you how sets are actually consumed. So here I'm using the BI 4.2 SP3 platform, and I'm creating a new Web Intelligence document. I'm selecting a universe. Okay. And here from the universe list, I have created a universe. This is the typical club database which you have, which is the sample database we use for all of our demos. In this database, in this universe, actually enriched the information of customers with some sets. So let's take, for example, the customer full name in my query. Let's take the customer country, the age, for example, of the customer, and some information about sales. So, for example, the total expense, the total revenue generated by this customer. Now, I can, for example, now filter my customers based on my customers for marketing campaigns. So somebody, me or somebody else, define the list of customers I want to have for my marketing campaign. And then if I run my product, my query, actually here is the list I'm not going to show all of it, but those are the customers I want to target for my marketing campaign. If I run the report, I can then do additional analysis about this list of customers. If I'm Web Intelligence, and actually export the list and use it, for example, into another application. So I have, for example, here the customer for a marketing campaign. It is a static list. I can have customers from the European Union. Click refresh, and let's check that those customers are actually from Germany. And yeah, so this is a sample customer only from Germany, so they are for European. Or, as I told you, I can have lists which change over time. So here, for example, I have my top adult customers. So I have my best customer, which are 18 years old. So here I can check what are the customers who actually are in my list right now. So current members, I see that nobody is in my list. So right now I don't have any best customer. But I can check who were my best customers going back in time. For example, I can check, let's take, for example, here, who were my best customer in August and September 2014, for example, because at the time I actually saved my list. I click refresh, and here are the list of customers which were my top customers in and here I can check who were the members, who were the member who actually joined the at a certain time. So let's take again those two periods here, and here I have the people who actually joined the set at this time here. So you see that now I can easily run queries and filtering them with those lists of customers, or could be list of products or whatever I create into my sets. Usage of set information. So do I build the sets? Now to build sets, I have to use the information design tool. Information design tool is the application which used to usually build universes. Now we have enriched the information design tool to enable you to build as well top of universes. The process is very simple. So in the repository you have a universe. On the universe you build a set container. So here, for example, here I have an example of set container I created. It is linked to a universe, and the set container finds all of the different objects into the universe which are related to a database ID, because I can build sets only on ID. For example, I have an ID for customer, an ID for products, an ID for resorts in the typical club database. And so here the system tells me, well, I found all those objects which have ID, and so you'll be able to build sets on top of those objects. In the set container, I also can create calendars. So here, for example, I created a calendar, a monthly calendar between 2014 and 2017. Let's build another one just to show you demo calendar. It's very simple. So I can build, for example, a weekly calendar between, let's say, the 1st of January 2017 for a certain number of periods, and so on. So here I created the calendar, and now the calendar is available to build my set. I'm not going to publish it because I don't need it right now. And finally, in the deployment tab, you can say exactly where the information is going to be written. So here I have two tables which are going to be written into the database, and I can, it's not necessary, but I can give the name, and I usually give the name to those tables so that I can later retrieve them for further usage. So the first thing to do, you have to build the set container on top of a universe. Now once the set container is built, you can actually retrieve it locally and then work with the set container into the information design tool. So here, this is the interface of the set container which enables me to build new sets from scratch. And so let's do this. Let's start to create a new folder in the set container. We create it from here. There we go. Let's call it, for example, webinar. Now I'm going to create new sets within this folder here. So let's create, for example, a set always based on customers, and I want a set of my, for example, US customers. To create a set, I have the ability to create sets into different steps. So here I can select, create a visual data step. So here I have all the information coming from my universe, and I can select one dimension, for example, country, and when I open the list of countries, I see that I have all those customers from the different countries, and my US customers obviously are the customers who are in the US. And I click here, finish, I build the set, and when I click the build button, the set is actually written into the database. Here, just for information, I'm using a database, a HANA 2.0 database. So I'm going to create another set. Let's create a static set. Let's call it, for example, European customers. There we are. Let's create country again, and here instead of selecting one, I can select multiple countries, France, Germany, and UK. Finish, and I click build, and here you see that, for example, in this example here, there are 21 customers who live into these 3 different countries. It's a little bit more complex than that. So let's create a set with a couple of different, with my top adult customers. Okay, so let's create a step. And my adult customer. So I want customers by age bigger than 18. So I can actually choose here all the values which are bigger than 18, but it's not very nice. The better thing is to actually use a formula. And here I say that I want all customers who have age greater than 18. Create. And here I say that I want the customers who actually have a age greater than 18. I could choose those who have not an age greater than 18, but here I want to click yes because I want those customers who are adult. And so you see here that there are 32 customers who are adult and globally I have 35 customers. Let's say I have my top customers. So top customers are customers with 5 nights in a row into an hotel. So here I have my hotel days spent, and again here I can select customers who have spent more than 5 days. Here, and click yes. So here you see that I have 3 different operators, add, subtract, and keep. Add means that I'm going to add spend more than 5 days to the list of adult customers I created before. Subtract means that I'm going to subtract customer who spend more than 5 days to the list of customers who were aged more than 18 before. And finally, keep means that from the list of adult customer, I want to keep only those who spent more than 5 days in the hotel. So I'm actually customers. I click finish, and you see here the start listed actions, the first one, and then the keep action, and I can build the set. So what I'm showing here in these 3 examples, customer, European customer, and top, what we call a visual data step. Now there are other ways to build sets, and another one is the ability to build sets using the Venn diagram definition. So, for example, I want to have my top adult and US customers. So I want customers who are top adult customers and live only in the US. So to do this, I could use step by step, or I can reuse the sets I've built before. So here, I'm going to take my, let's take my webinar examples. I'm going to take my US customers, my top adult customers, and I'm going to take only the intersection of the 2. So see here I could choose the union, only one part of the set, but here I could take only the intersection of the 2. I click finish, and I click build. And so here, I know that I have 5 customers who are top adult customers and who live in the US. Another example, sets which are based on time, time-dependent set. Here you see that there is a different icon here for static sets, and one is for temporal sets. I create a new temporal set, and here the first thing I have to do, I have to choose a calendar and a reference date. So I'm going to take my monthly calendar between 2014 and 2017, and my reference date is going to be the date of the invoice. This is the information which is available into the universe. So I'm going to use the invoice date to fill in the information for the set. I click OK. So here I actually created one set for period, and then I have to choose which kind of population I want to put in my set. So here I'm going to take, for example, my top adults, again, customers over time. So I can do it either by creating visual data sets, or more simply by using set on set. I already have my top adult customers, so and then selecting all of them and can keep. So keep means that from all the customers for each date, I'm going to keep only those who are top adult customers. And I click finish. And here, instead of clicking build, I'm clicking autofill. Autofill means that for each date, the set is going to be written into the database. It takes a little bit more time because I have 3 years of calculations to do here, and those calculations are on top of the invoice date. Button here, take for example the members, that this is the evolution of my top adult customers over time. So for the different months, typically I have 3 customers which make it into the list, and then some months they go up to 4 or up to 5 customers to the list. I can see who are the members in time, who are the joiners, who are the leavers, so the customers who just go out, and who are the stayers. Customers who stay in the set for more than one time. So here you see that there are no customers who stay into the set for 2 periods. So it means that nobody of adult customers, nobody ever stood more than 5 days over 2 different months into my Okay. Are the things which you can do already with BI for the 2 Service Pack 3. Obviously, once you're finished with the definition of your set, you right-click on the set, publish it, publish changes. When you publish the changes, those changes are going to be pushed to your universe, and then when you run the query, you see the set filters into the universe available for your reports. So I already shown you how to use the sets into Web Intelligence. Let me show you what's going to be new into Web Intelligence, into BI for the 2 Service Pack 4. So here, what you've seen up to now is already available into the tool. The next thing I'm going to show you is something which is planned for the 2 Service Pack 4. So legally, I cannot commit the functionality will be there. Also, I'm working on development build, so I don't exclude that we'll have some crashes or not, but this is development build, not yet stabilized. All right. So one thing we are. So I'm in BI for the 2 Service Pack 4 build, the new folder of that. Using now a query panel, we have seen that you can build a set with a visual set, with the Venn diagram. Now we can query panel. And so here, you have the full power of a query panel to build a very complex query. For example, here I want to build a set. Let's make it very difficult. I want to build a set of customers who are not US customers, but who have been more than 5 days into a hotel where a US customer has been. So it's something very difficult even to tell by words. And so I can show you that you can do complex calculation quite easily using the query panel technologies. Where I'm going here, let's say that I want to select my customers who have been into an hotel where there were US customers. So using subquery, I'm going to select where there have been US customers equals to list of values US. Okay, but then so those are all the customers who have been into hotels with the were US customers. But from those customers, I want only customers who are not US customers. So I'm going to filter this out. The country now is not US. So I'm going to take all the other customers. And of those, I want only those who, let's say, spent more than spent more than 15 days, let's say, equal to 15 days, or across my hotels. So it's quite a complex query I'm running here, but it's very powerful, and if somebody is acknowledged with the usage of the query, understand what I'm doing here. I wanted also to show that we have the query panel. Now you also can work with context. So I'm using the sales context here. And so whenever you have context or loops or aliases, everything is taken into the request. And so here I have the list of customers, customer ID, of those customers who are not American customers, but who have been spending more than 15 days in hotels where US customers have been. Okay? And I click the finish button here. So in BI 42 Service Pack 4, the ability to create a set using the query panel. Something new as well, we have created a better visual for the sets for the vendor. I've shown you before that we had a circular kind of set. Now we have changed to square because it's easier to see more sets. Actually, let's take some of those things it doesn't make very sense. I just want to show you that you can have a lot of different sets here, up to 4 different groups of sets, and you can actually calculate how many people are in each set. So actually here you see that those are sets coming from different countries, so it's normal that sets of people who are in the US have no intersection with people who live in Japan, for example, right? So let's take something which makes more sense. So let me just clear all and take the top adult customers and then the US customers. So it's easier to see, calculate here. So see here that I have 8 members who are US customers but are not top adult. I have here 3 members, so 20% of customers who are top adult customers but not, so are US customers but not top adult customers. And in the intersection of the two, I have 4 members which are both US customers and top adult customers. So here you can have up to 4 different set collections, but in a set collection you can have multiple sets. So here, for example, you can see that those are my top adult customers, but I could take, for example, that I created before, I can put it here. And so here in my collection I have the 2 sets, actually, the set I created and another set of adult customers. And here I can choose if I want to the intersection of the 2 sets or the union of the 2 sets. So we're making things much more complex here and much more complex, much more versatile than before. We can give you much more the ability to do a very tuned selection of the things you want to create a set onto. And this new UI is available in the i4.2 Service Pack 4. Things I wanted to show you was the ability to create groups of sets. So here I'm creating a new group. So when you build a set, you save the set into the database. But let's say, for example, that you want to refresh the content of the set automatically every week or every month or whatever. To do this, you can already, because when the set is published, you can go to the CMC, to our platform, and you can schedule the refresh of the set. Now, with 4.2 Service Pack 4, you can do it as well from the information tool, and you can create groups of sets. For example, here I'm going to create a group of sets called Webinar. Okay, and in this set, I'm going to put, for example, the European European customers. Say, for example, the customers who have been, okay, and this one here. Okay. Okay. So here it's a group of sets. A group of sets means that when I publish my set container, I will have a new group of sets called Webinar. Now I can easily refresh or schedule the refresh of the Webinar group of sets, and automatically all the sets which are into this group refreshed for you. So you don't have to manually define all of the sets which have which are here I also wanted to show another thing. So let's suppose that I want to create a group to refresh my top adult European customers. When I select this set, actually 3 sets are added to my list of sets to refresh, because my top adult European customers, actually it's a set based on the European customers and my top adult customer. This is just the intersection of the two. So when I want to refresh this, the system can automatically refresh for me both the European customers and then the top adult customers and then the intersection here. If I wouldn't refresh the 2 sets before, my results here wouldn't be correct. So the system knows what are the dependency and the lineage of my set definition, and so makes the refresh automatically for me, taking into account all the dependencies. Okay, so those are the main new functionalities you have into VI 4.2 Service Pack 4. Can do today, but this is a little bit outside of what we offer as a functionality, but it's already available. As I told you, sets are defined into the database, written into the database as database tables. And being database tables, this means that I can actually use those tables and reinject them into the universe itself. So I can do reports with sets using the universe itself. So here the universe, which I called meta sets, or universe using set, where I took tables. The red ones are tables, typical tables of my universe, so customer information, sales information, service information. Those are the typical tables I have in the, make it bigger. And the green tables are actually tables the tables which contain the information for my set. So let's look what's inside those tables here. It's quite complex identifiers of sets, the name of the set, some counts, some dates of sets when it's being refreshed, and so on. So if I look at this set here actually contains all the IDs of the customers who were in my set. Tables are quite technical tables, but they can easily be joined with my universe customer ID because I've built the set onto the customer ID. And when I do this, I can actually publish this set and then build reports on top of a universe which contains the business information and the information of sets. And so here, if I go back to Web Intelligence, let me close this page here. I go to my documents, and I created an example of document which I built on top of the universe, which was enriched with the information coming from sets. And so I have my query, I have the results of my query, and in the results of my query I have the information, for example, of which customer was in which set and in which date if the customer is time dependent. And then by using this information, I can, for example, see how many customers, in this case, I had into a set over time. So this graph here is pretty much the same I've shown you before in information design tool. And so I can show you that you can have the same kind of information from within Web Intelligence. In the second example of a report, so here I have three sets, the European customers, the Japanese customers, and US customers. And so here you see how those three groups perform on different measures. For example, here the blue bar is the number of customers I have in each set. So I see that I have 7 customers in Europe, 7 in Japan, and 7 in the US. You have the expenses, so the revenue actually generated by each customer group. So you see here that the US customer actually generate more revenue than Japanese customers or European customers. So I can do this kind of analysis of segmentations from within Web Intelligence by using the set information. Another example here is the correlation between two measures. So here I selected my US customers using an input control, and I see that there is a correlation between the number of guests which have been into an hotel and the total expenses. So this is pretty much linear information. I can check the same now for my European customers. Pretty much the same, not as linear as it was for the US customers. I can check the same for the Japanese customers. And I can check the same for the top adult customers, and so on. So here you can see that I can actually filter my report using the sets. So I can see all the customers who are in a specific group, and I can see how those customers behave to the correlation from 2 different measures. And finally, another thing which I created here is how a group of sets compares over the total population. I'm checking how much European customer, Japanese customer, and US customer spent in my hotels. Is actually the total expenses by the total population. So it's not anymore by checking a segment of my customers compare with all the other global population of my universe. Now I actually link the set tables with the tables of my business into. And now going back to the slides here. Working today. So today, as I told you, when you install the I3, you already have the set functionality available for you. Today is the Web Intelligence is running on top of the Windows server. So the dev platform has to be installed on Windows. So we are working on the support of AIX, Solaris, and Linux for the next release pack, but today is working only on Windows. And the database we're targeting today are HANA, SQL Server, Oracle, and IBM Pure Data, which is the new name of the Netezza system. So that's the first 4. We didn't have the time to complete for everything else. Now I tried it also on other databases. It works fine, but those are only the to certify certify for DVI for the 2 Service-Pack 3 version. For Service-Pack 4, we're still working on the final release of support, but probably will be all the OS, so all the Linux, IIX, and Solaris versions of the PI platform, and there will be probably some more databases onto which we're going to support functionality. Another thing we are going to add into BI for the 2 Service-Pack 4 is the ability to launch a version of information design tool which shows you only the UI for sets and nothing else. So today when you launch information design tool, let me show it again here, you have all the UI which is needed by a person who wants to create a new universe. And so it might be complex because you have a lot of different commands and buttons and so on. So in the actual 2 Service-Pack 4 you can change the default UX of information design tool, so to only launch the version for set definition. So you will only see this page here and nothing else, and here you will be able only to select one repository with the repository select the set container you want to work with. You will not see no no business layer, nothing of this at all. It will just be the to define the set. Future, but it is not going to be in Service-Pack 4. We're trying to create a new UI, probably web-based, where any business user is going to be able to create sets without actually having to install information design tool into their machine for creating the sets. Another thing we're going to add into Service-Pack 4 is the concept of population. So today, when you build a set, the only place where you can create population is when you build a set using a query panel. The set using the query panel. In the query panel, you can say that, if you open the query panel, you can say that take only a sample result set of, for example, 10 customers. Customers you have among all the customers you have, and when you build it, you're going to take only 10 customers. So this is the first implementation of random population, but will be much more flexible in Service-Pack 4, where you can choose what kind of random you can do. For example, the random or stratified random kind of population choice. Okay, so I think that's it for the demo and for slides. And so, as I told you, Service-Pack 3 is already out. Service-Pack 4 is going to be released very probably in May 2017. No commitment there. Is going to be more or less at the time of Sapphire, at least the ramp-up version, and that's where you will see the new functionality of sets. Okay.
Again, and thank you for joining us today. This will conclude today's webinar, but before I close the call, I'd like to give a big and special thank you to Pier Paolo for today's excellent presentation and